Hi guys, welcome back. Today we're up here at the haunt, making more progress in the trim corp room. Lots of stuff has happened. It's only been like a day or two since I've vlogged, but essentially here's progress. Got trim all up on the billboard, trim on the stage, all the way around. The scaffolding that's serving as the shelves is up. Shelves are up in them. Plywood's on the top, anchored down. Handrails are up. We got the fog pipe running across. We've got these anchors right here that we're going to use to secure this to the ground, and then once it's secured in, we'll be able to like finish this, making it look more like rolling carts that they would use for like medicines and shit like that. Moving here. I don't remember what I showed you guys last, but we've got the monitor desk, cut out all these. We have the actual monitors. It worked out. We had some that are like the same size. They all work, all that stuff. So they'll get mounted in these after it's all painted and everything. We're working on trimming it out right now. These are trimmed, but we got to trim all around everything. So we're working on that right now. We've got armory box. We're gonna put roll roof up here. We've got jail bars up, looking real good. The podium's built, trimmed, the cage is in. We were just having a conversation about the gears that we're planning to install inside of this, so they all turn. So there's like mechanical movement in there and shit. It's gonna be pretty cool. So I guess I'm gonna start in here because I don't know how to do these anchors. So I'm gonna start in here, trimming out everything, and once Jacob shows up, which should be any minute, Jacob, Scott, Jose, and John, they should be back in less than like 10 minutes. So we're gonna anchor these and then start framing in so they don't look like scaffold, they look like rolling medical carts and stuff that we're gonna fill up with cases and pills and trays of food and all that kind of stuff. So once that's done, then like the main sort of shit in here is all done. We're ready to go on until we come in here and paint. Then we're ready to go into here, get the trim in here done. In this room, we're gonna cut like holes, and I'm gonna show you how to add bricks behind something and we're gonna do like a 3-layer effect in here where you have brick and then concrete and then paint that's also textured, and I'm going to show you all that. It'll be a process because it's going to happen over a few days, but then we're going to plywood this whole side, cover this, trim that, put plywood on the back side of this. Joe is putting in the bars right now on top of this to close that off. Then after those few jobs, it's on to painting, which we'll have to wait till at least tomorrow because I don't have the texture coat to do what I need to. So we've got some stuff. We've got a day of work in here before we have to stop, but we'll keep going. So let's do it. All right, so I got the trim done on all this, all the way around, the top, the bottom, the side edge. Threw a vent in there because this is like a electrical box, so they would have a vent on the side, so that's there. I also went and I spray painted in back of the vent, so if anyone wants to like look into it, they wouldn't see the plywood because once the vent's on there, I can't paint back of it, so I spray painted it black. That's all on there now. I also installed the vent right here, which dead ends the fog pipe. Spray painted black in back of that one too. Again, same reason, so that when you look into it, it looks like a long dark thing instead of plywood. But you can see maybe a little bit the holes in there. I can see them. I don't know if you can, but that means a small amount of fog will be coming out of that vent into this room, which I kind of like. It's like a gas vent or some shit. So now, also I added these doors, which I just cut plywood to the right lengths. Then I took a hammer and just banged down these corners so they're all round instead of being square, so it just gives it a different kind of look. And once it's all textured, I'm going to add some small hinges on here and some small handles on these sides, like they would open up. So then I can like rust those and all that. It'll add another color. So I'm going to do the fake brickwork right now. To start, what I've done is just drawn these shapes on the wall right here where I want them. So I've got one there, one up here that I did where it's actually coming from the roof, and then one right here. I don't want to do anything on that wall because I'm pretty sure it's plywooded on the other side. That's my office, so I don't want anything right there. And then I'm going to be hanging stuff on these. I'll probably take that lath off and run a faux piece in back of that. Since the hole's already there, I'll make that happen. So, but that's going to be it. I'm just going to do those ones and that one right there. This is just like another element, so I don't want to go overboard on it. I also have to be kind of conscious of where it is because like there's plywood on back of this wall, so it'd be pretty hard, not impossible, but just pretty hard to cut a hole and then hang plywood in back of that hole. So, yeah, but anyway, the next thing I'm going to do is grab the Sawzall and I'm going to cut these holes out so that they're holes in the wall. Alright, now I've got those holes cut out. That one, and I took the lath out of that one. I'm going to grab some scrap pieces of plywood, and I'm just going to hold them up and back and then trace the shapes out, and then I'm going to cut a square around that shape with just enough so I can like put a screw or a staple into it and it'll hold it on the wall. Alright, so I've got my plywood for all my holes. I traced out on all of them, the inside of the hole. Now I'm going to get some 1-inch tape as soon as I find it. Alright, so I've got my 1-inch tape and I've got a piece of 1x3, and I'm going to use this because I like the width of it for my bricks. I'm gonna lay this out, I'm gonna trace it on this whole piece, and then I'm gonna run my tape to make a grid work. And I'll show you that once I'm done. Alright, so I used a smaller chunk for all my lengths and made this brick line look. Now I'm gonna take my tape and run it along all these lines, and then I'm gonna screw that piece up and leave the tape on there, and I'll show you that in a minute. So now I've got this grid work of tape laid out, and they're pretty straight. They might not be perfectly straight, but it's okay. They're scary bricks. I'm going to take this piece of plywood with the tape on it, and I'm going to screw it behind that hole. Then when I spray my texture on, I'm going to texture this too, and then I'm going to take my tape off once the texture dries. That's going to leave all the grout lines with flat plywood, which is going to give this a 3D brick look, and you've got instant bricks for very cheap. I didn't have to go and buy this crazy like the brick board that looks like shit, or carve this out of foam that takes a long time and the foam's expensive. This cost me not even one roll of tape and some scrap plywood, and I'm going to be spraying this room in texture anyway, so it's a great effect. I'm going to hang this up, then I'm going to do the rest of these, and I'll show you what it looks like once they're all done. Alright, so there it is. Oh yeah! Really? So there it is. The brick patterns are up. Once we spray this, like I explained, once we spray this with our texture all over this, the tape lines will come off, and then you'll be left with a brick texture with smooth grout lines, and then I'll come back, I'll paint all the bricks like a red or some kind of color that I like, and then I'll hand trowel in the texture around all this to also kind of fill it in so it doesn't look like a cutout hole. It looks like a smooth kind of break. All that we have left in here for right now is we're going to hang a few chunks of plywood up on this so it looks like broken ceiling. It's going to be pretty cool. We're about to head out of here for the day, but I want to show you the progress before we leave. So we're at a point where we're ready. We've got one small thing left to add in here. We got to frame in this little section here, plywood it, and then we'll be ready to paint. So the texture painting, all that will happen tomorrow, and that's when the really cool shit's going to start happening in this room. So quick look at everything. We got the plywood and the trim up on the back side of that. Got trim up on the whole outside of this stage. This room, we got the bricks up, all that good stuff. The bars. Here's the back side of these boxes. The scaffolding's up, super strong. Got these jail bars done. Trim this. Entrance cage here. Pretty fun. So it's coming together, starting to look really cool. There's going to be a lot of fucking elements in here that are awesome. By the time you go into the haunted house, you will have experienced 3 rooms that are larger and better than some smaller haunted houses, and you're not even in the show yet. So yeah, it's gonna be badass. Anyway, we'll be back up here tomorrow to do some painting and start the detailing, the aging, all that stuff. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. I'm just now tuning out. You stay scary. How's it going, guys? Welcome back. Today we are up here at the haunt. Today is a cool day. We're going to be doing spray texture on this room. So yesterday we wrapped up the last 2 kind of building projects in here before we paint, which was framing in this bottom and then installing the clothes racks, which one goes that way, one goes that way. For that I just used black conduit with a 90 and a 5-inch nipple on it, and just use a pipe strap to attach to the wall there and there. Same thing here. So these will be hanging like uniforms for patients on it once that's done. But anyway, right now I've got me and Jose. Jacob Phelps is supposed to be on his way, but we're going to be covering literally this whole room in spray texture. So everything in here is going to get covered in spray texture. So yeah, that's where we're at. We've got 3 kinds for 3 different, two different colors, 3 different finishes. Because the general kind of finish in here is going to be heavy like concrete. Then we've got a fine finish, which is going to go on here in this 8-foot area, so it's like smooth and nice, as well as I think on the monitor over there. We'll spray that with like a fine finish. And then I got another finish, which I think is a medium one again, but it's like an orange. So I'm going to use that for all the rust on this, as well as maybe the pipe, rusting it as well, or at least putting like a base of rust on there. Now that I'm going to apply with a brush, so it'll get like painted on all this. So yeah, Jose's hooking up the air and stuff right now, hooking up our tools. I'm going to start mixing the tints into the bases so that we could start spraying them. And then we're going to get this room fucking textured. Once it's textured, hopefully we can do all that today. We've got like 2 hours, so hopefully we can get all the texture knocked out today, and then tomorrow we can start to add the really cool like paints and stuff in here. They're going to make everything look real cool. So let's do it. This is a tint pack for this. I'm gonna get all of it in there. This is gonna end up like the light gray that we're spraying on all that. Once you mix it, take a little bit of water, put it in there. Just a little bit. Because you want all the tint out of there. Close it back up and shake that around. Try to get as much of the tint out of there as I can. Obviously, wear gloves. You don't want this on you. industrial fucking pick, so I don't know what it's gonna do to it. It's probably not something like that. That's garbage. Then we're gonna take a mixer and a drill and start mixing this up. I'll show you what it looks like once it's done. Alright, now we've got it all mixed. Now it's that nice kind of gray, same color that's on that wall there. Same color, that's our base for the whole inside of this. We want a gray kind of concrete look, so that's what I'm going for. Now, a disclaimer. Obviously, I'm just using a regular drill. If you're going to do this all the time, and this is an investment that we'll make here pretty soon because we just bought a lot of this, there's a specific kind of mixing drill that you want to get. These aren't made for doing that. You can do it once, you'll be all right, but these aren't made for doing that. And if you do it all the time or you mix a lot, they get hot, you'll burn them up real quick because you're mixing concrete. So there's a specific type, it's like a certain type of hammer drill that you want to use with this. Ask at Home Depot, they have it, they can show you. And it'll work much better and much longer for mixing concrete. I mixed this so that Jose has enough. He has like half a bucket over there from when we sprayed the Transworld booth, but right now he's spraying everything in there. I wanted to make sure he had another bucket so he doesn't run out. Jacob just showed up, so he's going to be helping Jose spray all this shit. I'm going to mix the orange now. I'll show you what that looks like too. And then I'm going to start working on hand applying it to everything in there that's rusty. Let's do it. So another note, the finish I'm using is called Sahara Medium for the concrete texture on everything. For the rust, I'm using what's called Sahara Dark. For the rust, the color I'm using is called Clay Pot, so it's that kind of orange. For the base, the color I'm using is called Morning Mist. And then we also have Sahara Fine, which is also Morning Mist that we'll be spraying on areas that we don't want so rocky, but do want to have more of a smooth kind of concrete finish, or more like a metal once we actually paint it. So yeah, looks like chili with no meat or beans. See what it looks like after we mix it. Obviously be a lot lighter. I'm expecting something more like that by the time it's done. I think that's what it'll kind of look like. But I'm gonna wash this out and dump it in and show you what this looks like once it's mixed. Alright, so here's what we've got. I'd say that clay is definitely the right name for this because it definitely looks like clay. Like Monster Clay is a great name for this, or shitty spaghetti sauce, you call it, if that's what you want. But there it is, orange. So I'm gonna apply that all over this area over here where we have these beams. I'm gonna apply it all over these with a brush so that they look rusty to start with, and then we'll come in with our browns and blacks and yellows and all that cool stuff to make it look real rusty. The texture will be fantastic. It's gonna look great. So let's do it. So not all the way done, but here is my rusty texture on one of these I-beams. See where it stops. I think this looks fucking awesome. And this is just the orange base. So once this gets other colors, the browns and shellacs and stuff, it's gonna look great. Now I will clean, this is the stuff that's like falling off. I've been packing it in so it looks like the whole bottom of it's just kind of built up with nasty rust. I kind of like that. But some of it I will end up like scraping off. Like same thing with these. I don't like these globs on the floor. It kind of sucks. But this I-beam that I've done, which I'm pretty much done, I just have this last side to do. But I've hardly touched this 5-gallon bucket. I filled that trowel like twice, and I'm not really even filling it, so you can see. And this wasn't totally full, but I've hardly touched it. So one bucket of this is going to be more than enough to do all the rusting in here I need. And I'm going to rust these I-beams, and I'll do like some small rusting here and there, on things that should be metal like this. But I know for a fact I'm going to do, well, I'll do some small rusting also on here, and then we'll also have to rust all these bars, all this wood, and that pipe. So I'll have way more than enough for all that. So yeah, we're wrapping up here. They've got almost the whole lower section of the room done. So they've got to there, and then they went into the office. So they're gonna wrap up probably the office, and then we'll call it a day. We've got to do this section still, but we still have to hit the whole top. So we'll just do that tomorrow. So I am applying this with a brush because I don't want it, like if you look at the wall, it's all smooth, like it's not smooth, it's rough, but it's even texture. And when I apply it with a brush, you get all this nasty funk shit. I'll tell you, I work in a mill. I'm around rusty I-beams every day. This looks like a rusty I-beam if I've ever seen one. So, and I've seen quite a few. So yeah, and it's not even done. It's badass. So anyway, we're gonna start cleaning up. That's gonna be it for today. Thank you guys very much for watching. I'm Dustin L tuning out. You stay scary.